This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I might even just rename this podcast to Things That People Don't Usually Talk About, but need to.
Love it.
It's the truth. It's a truth. We're going to dig into relationships, physical relationships, specifically why some couples stop talking about sex, stop engaging, or what started as a beautiful relationship after a period of time, things shut down, even to the point where there's no talk about why things shut down. And then invariably, as time goes on, things get worse in all different areas from that point. She knows more about that than I do. She is an amazing sex therapist at the Center for Relational Wellness. It's so great to have Sara Vargas back on with us. How you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Real good, and real curious about what you hear from couples. And I'm going to maybe assume that this happens a lot to a lot of couples after, a period of time. Is this what you encounter?
Sure do. Right. I think when folks start their physical relationship, right, it tends to be reported as something that's natural, that just happened. But very rarely do you hear folks, talking about how they talked about sex, right? Most people don't enter a relationship and like, oh, what are your expectations? Let's talk about what you like, what you don't like, those sorts of things, right? And so when things start to change in a relationship and you stop having sex, or it's not as frequent, or you're not as satisfied, part of what gets in the way is your inability to talk about it, right? And so what has an impact on that? There's all sorts of things, right? I hear fear of rejection, judgment, right? Maybe in your own upbringing, you didn't really talk about bodies and sex, right? So that's another factor. You're afraid, you're scared. There's this myth around, well, my partner should just know, right? My partner should just know what I'm feeling or thinking. Like, can't they see that I'm not happy? Right? Can't they see I want something else? Like, can't they tell? No one is a mind reader, right? But often there is this belief that relationships look a certain way, and so my partner should just know. There's also the piece around increased emotional distance, right? If you're feeling distant from your partner in lots of other ways, you're certainly not going to feel comfortable talking about sex, right? That gets much more difficult to be able to do when you're already so disconnected. And then, of course, desire discrepancy. That's a hard thing to talk about, right? Like, I want something different or more than you do. How do we talk about that, right? And then
Well,
I
let me
think
ask, I want to go back to the
go ahead.
beginning of the relationship. Does this
Yeah.
happen often where two people meet, there's a spark, there's passion, there's connection. We're on the same page. We enjoy each other. We enjoy each other physically. It just happens. It's great. But we never talked about what we really like and want because we kind of just take it for granted that, yeah, it's good. Everything's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 6 months go by, a year goes by, now 3 years. And then maybe when the dust settles, then you realize, well, that's okay, but I really want more, and maybe something different, but you never started with the conversation or the communication in the beginning. So now it's awkward even going there because it didn't start that way. Does that happen a lot?
Yes. Right. It's so scary to start that conversation. And there's something about routine, right? Like, there's some comfort in that, right? You get to a place where, okay, I think I know my partner's body. I think they know mine. I think this makes it, but then it turns into routine. How do you talk about you're not being really excited about the routine anymore? Right? Like, it does get really difficult because it's this like new area of exploration that the two of you have not actually talked about.
And I believe, the routine, that's okay for, after a while. Okay, now you're looking to spice it up, whatever. And that's all
Yeah.
normal, I believe. But the challenge is you didn't talk about it in the beginning. Now it's all new territory. Now you're afraid to talk about it. Now in some ways, you might even be afraid of failure. What about if I start talking about this and they don't get it? And now I'm
Hmm.
feeling that I'm not fulfilled and we're failing at this. And then now bigger picture, we're married and we got kids and like that. So
Yep,
let's just keep going with the routine thing. It's okay.
exactly.
But it's
There's
really,
so
but
much,
it's really not.
but it's really not. Like
Yeah.
so much insecurity gets evoked um when you want to change something up. Like, why does my partner want something new? Are they seeing someone else? Right? Like, why does my partner want something new? Am I not good enough? Right? All these insecurities and doubts come up. And then the other person who maybe wants something different, are they gonna think I'm weird? Are they gonna think there's something wrong with me? Um, are they going to think there's something wrong in the relationship, right? Like so much gets evoked when there is a difference, even if it's not a bad thing, right? It's
Mm,
just different, so that's uncomfortable.
yeah. Well, especially if you haven't talked about it, it's uncomfortable even bringing that up. Like, how do you approach that? How do you approach that? Let's say,
Yep.
3, 4 years have gone by, maybe 10, who knows? And you really want to go there, but you're not really sure how to open the door to that conversation.
So one thing I would think about is normalizing that it's just another part of your relationship, right? Like it's important for you to talk about, the bills, right? Like, that's part of the conversation that's really important to have. Why is sex off the table? It's part of maintaining the relationship, right? Like really normalizing. This is not necessarily a problem in our relationship. It's part of
Mm,
our relationship, right? Like
mm.
it's something we need to talk about, right? Those sorts of things. Um, Really understanding that it's important to talk about it when you're not in conflict, right? Talking about it during a neutral situation, not right after sex and you're not happy, right? Because that can feel so shaming, right? Like,
Yeah.
one day, hey, I really want to talk. It's a Sunday afternoon. I just want to sit down and check in about our relationship, and this is the topic at hand,
And that's
right?
at that point I run. I'm kidding. Like,
Okay, maybe you need a Friday with a glass of wine. That's mine too. Right? Like,
yeah, but it's that's a tough one though because it's now you're all right. We need to talk, and you got to find the right moment. And to your point,
yes.
not after you're doing the bills and your partner spent money on something, and by the way, you know what? The other night that wasn't good. Kiss of death.
No.
Don't go there.
Yep. And then also how you talk about things, right? I think you're touching on something important. Instead of saying, you never do this for me anymore, or you don't want to do this
Mm,
for me, really being able to, one, frame it in a positive light and talking about what's happening for you, right? Like, I miss our connection. I wish that we could connect differently. This is something that would feel good to me, right? Not you're doing something wrong, not you're this terrible person, right? It's what is it that I need? I
hmm
love when we're close together. I love that we can, talk about things. I wonder if we can do something about our sex life that would feel different, right? Like, really, how are you talking about these things? And if all else fails, right? Also, you can reach out to somebody like myself, who's a
Yep.
sex therapist, right? Like, you reach out to sex therapists because sometimes you don't even have the language, right? If you didn't grow up talking about sex, which most people didn't, right? It's really hard to find the appropriate language, right?
This is not something you try alone. Just saying, unless it depends on the relationship, it depends on you, but more times than not, you want to be careful about that in terms of feelings being hurt, taken the
Yep,
wrong way. And there's no judgment. It's more of a productive, fun conversation, making things better, but it can go the wrong way.
exactly. I love that you say that it can be a fun thing, right? Like, I think a lot of the time people forget that play is part of this, right? Play in your relationship as adults is so powerful and important versus looking at it as like this doom and gloom dire thing, right? When you're looking at it in such a way, it feels really pressured, right? It feels like now I have to perform,
Mm,
right? Versus like, let's talk about something fun in our relationship. How can we be playful together?
yep. And many mental health professionals will say that we all have a feeling in us of not being good enough in some regards, some way, some
Sure.
shape, some form, some of us more than others, depending on how we grew
Yeah.
up. So now you take this element in, and your brain right away, oh, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for you.
Yep.
Not that. I'm fantastic. And then, especially when it comes to sex, shut down,
Yes.
shut down. Fear of failure.
Exactly. Right. Like, and especially like, let's say there's a person who's successful in certain parts of their life, right? This can be so jarring, right? Because I'm excelling in all these other places of my life. Why am I not excelling here? Right?
Mm,
It really crashes up in your identity. Like, who am I? Why am I not good enough? Right? Something is wrong with me, where it's not that, right? Or even like when it comes to different interests, right? Like different, like a desire discrepancy. Sometimes the person who maybe is more vanilla might feel that they're somehow less progressive than their partner. I'm not good enough. I'm not, adventurous. And there's nothing wrong with being vanilla, right? It's just different from your partner. That's the
mm.
other part, right? When I'm talking about normalizing things, like it's all healthy and typical. It's okay.
You're together for a reason, though. So we can't forget
Yeah.
about that. There was a connection. And, when it comes to the vanilla thing, there's nothing wrong with that. Just need to talk about that and not have a
Yeah.
fear of rejection, even rejection,
Hmm.
even the conversation. Yeah, I don't want to say this, but I find it so true. It's it's not you. It's not you meaning yourself. Like you may, I believe you got to be in a good mood and you're happy for
Hmm.
being with somebody intimately is going to be good. If you've got
Hmm.
stress and stuff going on, it's not you, it's not the other person, it's that stuff around you. And that is so much going to get in the way of it being fantastic or even halfway decent.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, right? Like adulting is hard, right? Like it is so hard. Like work, finances, if you have children, right? All of these things can really weigh you down, right? So it can push you away from having sex. It's one more thing that you have to talk about. So it can feel like work, right? It
Yeah.
can feel just
Mm.
like another thing to add to the list
Yep.
versus like what's actually important here. How do we reconnect as a couple? This is hopefully not going to be this thing that's weighing us down, but rather a place for us to connect, right? Like I'm telling you, I want to talk about this because I want to reconnect with you, right? It's not a scary thing.
Should you position it in a way where, that was fun the other night. What if take it from a positive and add a positive as to it feeling,
Yes.
kind of heavy?
Yes, absolutely. That is a wonderful entry point, right? Because then your partner's defenses are probably going to be a little bit lower. They're not feeling criticized. They're actually noticing that you're noticing the good stuff,
Mm,
right? Because it's not helpful to only always focus on the negative stuff, right? Like if you're only seeing the negative, that doesn't feel good to your partner, right? Then they're wondering like, well, what am I doing here? What am I contributing? Versus like noticing points of connection, noticing points that feel good. Like, yeah, you're right. That was great. What else can we do? Right? That I think that's a really great way to open the door for more stuff that's fun and enjoyable.
Sarah, should you ask before you buy? My point here is, you know, should you say, look what I bought? Or should you say, what do you think? Find a couple of things to spice things up, maybe something for you, something for me, shop together. How should you approach that in a different way depending on your partner?
Yes, the short answer, yes, right? Because here's the thing. If you are having all these fantasies and all these wonderful ideas and your partner has no clue, and you show up with something, you know, that might feel outrageous, even a vibrator for some people might feel like too much, right? Um, and you show up without talking about this first, it might be really shocking, right?
Mm,
Versus like, hey, what if we did this together? Or is it okay if I go buy something for us? What do you think about this? Inviting them into the conversation, right? Because if they have no clue that you've been thinking about something else, it can be really surprising. Some people might take it as like, yay, awesome, my partner's taking initiative. I didn't have to say anything. So
Yeah.
that's possible, but it's risky.
I guess you got to know the other person. I mean, if you show up and say, oh, you're not going to believe this, but I've got fruit roll-ups, I've got feathers, and I've got peanut butter. Wait till you see what's going to happen. No.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
yeah, it can be a little over
Exactly.
top.
A little
What?
warm up.
Yes. What are your thoughts about, let's say your partner has to do certain things to get in the mood? Like
Okay.
nothing takes place unless they've had two glasses of wine,
Hmm.
or there's other things involved before they can feel comfortable um, in the
Hmm.
bedroom. Is that no judgment here, but is that a challenge, in some relationships? Or hey, whatever works for you, then just do it.
It can be, right? Because it's usually is a relationship issue, right? Like, so for example, there are some partners where I need you to check in with me when you come from home from work. How am I doing? Like literal mental stimulation
Yep.
first, right? Like, I want you to hug me without the expectation of sex, right? Just hug me, kiss me, um, check in with me, notice me, right? Even something as simple sounding as that before they can even get into the mood. Because if you are so, I've had folks where one partner will be coming home from work and say, are we going to have sex tonight? Just like that. That is a mood killer, right? Like, that is not going to help at all. Some people do want more romantic things. And I think romance sometimes gets a bad rap, like they think it's like corny or cheesy or whatever.
Yep.
But it's not. Some people actually really enjoy that sort of stuff. Like some people do, it's not going to happen every time, right? Like realistically, like sometimes you're not going to have this long, like romantic evening. That's just not possible, right?
There's only so many flowers that I can put on the bed.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes you just need to have good enough stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
for it to be okay.
Does
But
that
yes,
come
there
under
are
the
lots of folks.
category? Does that come under the category of maintenance sex?
Kinda, yeah.
All
Like,
right.
if that's something that the two of you are okay with,
Right.
right? Like, if you get that that makes sense for, like, you know what, it's just good for us to have sex sometimes so we can feel reconnected. It's not going to be like stars and fireworks and all this stuff, but we just want to be connected here and there. That's okay,
Mm.
right? But everyone is different in terms of what they need in order to get warmed up for sex, right? Like, some people, it is easier for them to just show up, right? But other people need a little bit more.
If it is, a couple of glasses of wine, or CBD, smoking something, whatever, is that, if both are okay with that, is that okay? And or can that run into, can that turn into potentially something challenging years later? What are your thoughts
Both,
overall? Yeah.
both are true. Yeah, for sure. Um, if you know what works for you, great. But I can imagine, right, a situation where why can't you have sex with me unless you're drinking, right? So it's really thinking about what these, mechanisms are actually providing. Like, what are they actually doing, right? Like, if you're drinking because it helps you dissociate a little bit so that you can be more present, then we need to talk about that, right?
Mhm.
Like, what is actually happening here? Why do you need this thing, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's important to understand what's the meaning behind it so that, why do you need this to get to this place of having sex with your partner? And a quick side note, um, sex doesn't just mean penetrative sex, right? It doesn't just mean intercourse. Sex can be all sorts of things. Some people can feel really connected in lots of other ways. So just want to clarify that.
Totally, totally. And
Mhm.
if somebody needs something before, there's probably a connection to something from their past. Yeah. I'm not qualified. I'm just thinking that maybe there's, I don't want to go deep here, trauma, but it could be another relationship, things like that. You just, need to disconnect from that so you can be with the person you really want to be with, but you're still mentally connected with the past, whatever the past may be.
Yes, absolutely. And that's some of the things that, like, one of the things that we actually talk about is like, how do you get yourself to be more present, right? How do you learn to have safety in your relationship so you can be here with this person, right? Because it's very easy for your history to show up and actually invade the space, right? Like we often talk about like who's in the room with you when you are not able to have sex with your partner. Who's showing up? Well, whose voices are you hearing? Who is in that
Mm,
room with you? Right?
mm.
Really thinking about what are the stops.
So now let's go. Boy, this went in a different direction, but let's go a little bit deeper in terms of what you just said.
Okay.
What if you're engaged and it's okay, but in order to feel fully fulfilled, you have thoughts of somebody else, past relationship, whatever it might
hmm
be.
hmm hmm
Is that okay? Is it okay sometimes? What?
Both, right? Like, it's hard for me to ever give a like a black and white yes or no answer
Everybody's
because,
different. I get it.
but there's a little bit of nuance there, right? Because at some point, do most people fantasize about someone else in their relationship? Yes, right? Like even celebrities, right? Like even somebody that you know you're likely not going to be with, right? That happens, right? You're a human being. Sometimes you fantasize about other people. If you're only always fantasizing about someone else, someone in your past, then we need to understand what's happening. Like, are you attracted to your partner? Right. And that's a tough conversation to have with folks, right? Like, are you attracted? Why aren't you attracted? Right. What was special about this other person? Because is there something there that you can bring to the relationship?
Hmm.
Right, that can be brought up in this relationship that can feel more fulfilling. So it does get a little tricky if it's you're constantly going in that direction.
Well, great point you bring up. Occasionally is okay because let's face it, you're looking at porn. What are you
Yep,
doing? Even if you're
yep,
watching together while you are together,
yep.
there's an element of fantasy there. Could be the person on the
hmm
screen for a minute, and it just
Yeah,
takes it to a different place that time.
yep, exactly.
Mm.
And again, right, fantasy is very different from reality, right? Like, and I think sometimes people get really afraid of other people's fantasies, right? But what's the harm in a fantasy, right? It's just a desire, just something you're interested in. It's like pretend play for kids, right? Like it helps you get motivated, it helps you get excited, but
Sure.
it's not harming anyone, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
again, if you're fantasizing always about the same, let's call it person,
Yeah,
whether it's a celebrity, whether it's an ex, whatever it may be, that could be problematic. But the one-offs here and there, or whatever, it's
yeah,
part of the fun, really. That it's almost the same thing as dressing up in an outfit. Leave it at that. Whatever. It's just something different.
yeah. Exactly. And like, and same thing to your point, like same thing with pornography, right? Like, is it inherently bad? No, right? Like pornography is just another tool that can be really fun for the relationship, right? Like, and or for yourself, right? Your relationship for yourself, right? Like it can be used in lots and lots of different ways. If it's getting in the way,
Yep.
right, of you having a satisfying relationship, that's the problem.
Gotcha. Uh,
Mhm.
Good stuff we hit up today. Really important things as well. How do we find you, Sarah? You're located in Illinois, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
What capacity can you work with people virtually anywhere as opposed to just in Illinois?
Yep. So in Illinois specifically, I can see folks for therapy, right? Individual or couple. Outside of Illinois, I can provide consultations, I can do coaching, I can do trainings, that sort of thing, and supervision I can do. But actual couples therapy, sex therapy, individual therapy has to be in Illinois. Um, Folks can find me on our website, which is centerrw.com. So there's two R's there in the middle. You can email me at info@centerrw.com. And then our phone number is 224-294-1001.
Always great talking with you. You make it
Likewise.
fun, not too heavy, and solution oriented. There's usually
Yeah,
an answer once we figure out what's going on here, and I appreciate
yeah.
that. Thanks for being here.
Of course, always goes by so fast.
It's so funny. We do this on a Friday. It's foreplay for the weekend.
There we go. I love
Yeah.
that.
All
Great.
right. We'll catch up. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.